Hey guys, here I am again with the YZ426f. This time around I'm gonna add some heat shield to the exhaust, and on top of that we're gonna take care of the chain. When I say we're gonna take care of the chain, I mean we're gonna make sure that the chain is not stretched out. We're gonna make sure that the sprockets are not wore out. We're gonna replace the chain guide with a fresh one. And obviously on top of that, the chain is being cleaned when I wash the bike, so now I'm going to re-grease the chain properly and make sure that the slack is the way it's supposed to be. But enough with the chit chat, let's get on it. Let's start with the easy things first, and the easiest thing we gotta do today is install this heat shield. This is a generic heat shield. It's for multi-total bikes. I don't think it was intended for this, but that's exactly what I'm gonna use it for, and I'm gonna put it right here. So first thing to do is open those up and put it the way you want the tightening screw to point out. So I want the tightening screw to point down, therefore I'm going to put it in like this, and for now I'm just going to leave it hanging like that. Once you have them point down, it's time now to install this thing. Now what happened is those clamps over here go behind this bracket over here. Simple. This is the same exact process you would do for any heat shield on any exhaust. So you're gonna go in just like this, and then all the way around, just like that. I'm gonna do it for that, and I'm gonna do it for the next one over. Once you pass it in, you just have to put this back inside over here and start tightening the screw. Now I'm going to slide it in position. So now they are down here, 1 and 2, and I'm going to tie it up. And this is the final result, which actually looks way better than I thought it would. And hopefully is gonna protect whatever stupid thing I'm gonna do as a novice from sticking to the exhaust. Moving on. Next up is the chain. What we want to make sure on the chain is that the chain is not stretched and that the chain slack is actually appropriate. Since we're down here, we're also gonna check the rear sprocket, and we're gonna take a look at the front sprocket as well. Make sure they're not wore out. An easy way of checking if the chain is stretched is to grab a link over here on the sprocket and try to pull out. Okay, if it doesn't move too much, you're good. If it actually moves and lifts off from the sprocket, that means that the links have stretched out and you're able to actually pull it out quite a bit. Looks good to me. Let's move on. When you look at the sprocket, you want to make sure that the teeth of your sprocket are not too pointy. They're still a little flat on the top, a little squared off like a brand new sprocket would. Same thing for the one up front. You want to look in there and make sure that those teeth are not too pointy. And so far it looks pretty good. So let's check the slack. When it comes to the slack, anything I found on the internet and looking through the manuals is that you have to start at this point and you have 40 to 50 millimeter worth of slack. So we're gonna get our measuring thingy over here, and we're gonna just push it up, and I have indeed about 40 millimeters Another thing that the manual says is to do this with the bike on the ground, as it is right now. In case your chain needs to be adjusted, don't worry, because it's not that difficult. You have those two nut and bolt down here. One is a 12 millimeter, the other one is a 10 millimeter. And the only thing you need to do, the aluminum block that holds the axle has markings on it, and there is also a marking over here on the swing arm itself. So what you gotta do is loosen up the axle nut, which is a 27 millimeter nut. Once you lose that up, you can actually loose up the 12 millimeter, and with the 10 adjust back or forward. Obviously, if you want it more tense, you push it back. If you want more slack, you push it forward. And once it's adjusted, you tie the 12 millimeters over here again, and then you tie the axle nut one more time. Once you do that, you're done. You check your slack again, and this time around should be between 40 and 50 millimeters. But moving on, I'm gonna grease this up later. Let's change the chain slide down here. So removing the chain guide over here shouldn't be that difficult. There are those 3 bolts up front, which are 8 millimeters. And there are those 2 in the back, which are 10 millimeters. So should be easy as hold the 10 millimeters in the back and undo the one up front. The metal part goes away and pull the rubber part off. Get the bird's nest off the bike. So let's take a look at those two side by side. This one obviously is the one I just removed, and this one is the brand new one from Acerbis. If you guys look inside the chain slide, it's pretty noticeable how much this one is worn off. You can see, hopefully, you should be able to see grooves in there, while the new one still has pretty much almost half inch compared to the old one that not only has little to nothing left, but if you guys look in there, you can see the grooves that the chain actually carved into it. So let's toss this aside and let's put this on. While you guys were distracted, I took this thing and I gave it a good clean. Not only that, I got a Scotch-Brite pad and I cleaned up the aluminum so that it doesn't look as disgusting as it used to. Next thing we need to do is grab the rubber part and add to the rubber part those little spacers over here. Easy enough, get the rubber part and put the spacers inside, like that. Those metal spacers are going to prevent the rubber to actually squish as you're tying this thing back on the bike, which, let's put it on. There you go. Next step, get the metal part, the aluminum part, and put it around the rubber part. And at this point, time to tie everything together. Here we go. It's solid. That seems to do. Next step, let's grease up the chain. Remember, don't get lazy and clean the chain before you actually apply some more chain lube. And I'm gonna lube up the inside, because then the centrifugal force is gonna push the lube through the chain and outside. Yeah, let's start here. The chain is lubed up. Let's move on. And that is it for today. The chain is being properly maintained this time around. The slider in the chain guy is being replaced with a brand new one. On top of that, we added some heat shield to the exhaust over here. And that's it. Otherwise, it's gonna be way too long of a video. As always, for everything I used in this video, check the description down below for links. If you guys like the video, like. If you love the video, subscribe. If you wanna see what else I'm gonna do to the YZ426, stay tuned and check it out. Till then, dirt on, and I'll see you next time.